Here you are. Good evening. I now call our 47th meeting of the Jacksonville Environmental and Appearance Advisory Committee to order. Our meeting target time is 1 hour. I want to welcome everyone to our meeting, and I want to especially welcome Stacey Gelles. I'm Edward Blizzard and serve as chair for this committee. If everyone, starting with Stacey, will please introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Stacey Giles.
Sorry.
Yeah. I work for the city manager's office.
Gary Terrell, Public Services.
Sunshine Williams, community member and tree board member.
Betty Sheffelbein, member.
Ossie Keys, member. Linda Smith, tree board and environmental member.
Matt Wright, committee member and tree board.
Regina Webb, vice chairman and chairman for the recognition committee.
I'm Ed Blizzard, your chairman and member of the tree board.
I'm Glenn Hargett with the city.
Lily Gray, city.
Gary Willett, City of Jacksonville.
And he has a countdown on his head too. He's leaving us also.
Every committee member is asked to update their contact information, correct the information that the city has on file. Everybody should have one of those tonight. Everybody got the agenda and hopefully has reviewed it. Can we consider it for adoption now before we proceed? A motion to amend it would be appropriate. Have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, say nay. Don't hear any nays, so the agenda is approved. Moving on, our minutes were emailed to us courtesy of Mr. Hargett. Everybody hopefully had a chance to read through those. Can I have a motion to adopt the April 19 minutes? If there's any corrections or anybody reject any of them, do I have a motion?
A motion to adopt.
Okay, motion to adopt the minutes. Are there a second?
I say.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Hearing no nays, the minutes are approved. The official attendance report is on page 9 of your emailed paperwork that were sent to you. Make sure that those are correct. And if there is a mistake, let the staff know as soon as possible so they can correct it. The city ordinance requires automatic removal for a number of absences. It is now time for our presentation for this meeting. I'm going to turn the introduction of this item over to Staff Liaison Glenn Hargett.
Well, we're ecstatic tonight to have Lily Gray and Gary Willett here. As mentioned, Gary's going to be leaving us shortly here, and he certainly will have left a big hole to fill there on the matter. As to Lily, she's still with us, and she is definitely causing things to be determined much for the better here within our community. Lily, thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Glenn, and thank you, members, for having us here again tonight. We always enjoy coming to speak with you once a year about what's going on in community engagement and code enforcement and the activities we're undertaking to help you keep the city clean and green, help us all keep the city clean and green. As you know, we have our Demolition and Cleanse program, which is designed to improve the overall appearance of the city. We're proud to report that we've demolished 115 structures since 2010, and we have 7 demolitions in process. Wanted to share some highlights of that activity with you. Here's 103 Westminster. A few months ago, we removed this structure in partnership with our fire department. They use this for a live burn training exercise. And then after they were done with it, our streets crews went in and cleared it. So we have a nice clean green lot for redevelopment. We've also undertaken a similar activity. This is a mobile home that was discovered in Belfort Homes area. We had this structure removed, again, another clean lot ready to be landscaped and beautified. And then we also like to highlight, we're continuing to work on our efforts to improve older neighborhoods, as our advisory committee members shared with City Council back in 2014. As you know, we have our Livable Neighborhoods initiative where we're working with neighborhood organizations to preserve their neighborhoods. Through that initiative, we work in collaboration with all the various departments in the city to make sure our neighborhoods are strong and productive and sustainable. And we want to share our newest neighborhood activity. We've mentioned this to you before, Country Club Villas, formerly known, many of you know it as Myrtlewood. There you see on the map the area that's targeted, which is the townhouse developments itself. And what we've done thus far, over the last several months, we've purchased 2 properties, 444 and 446 Myrtlewood, and we have a closing on a third one next week. We'll have 3 under city control. And what we're doing, this is an activity where a local church went in and did some neighborhood engagement activities, some neighborhood cleanup, and just wanted to reach out to the residents. And then we had our own city cruise. It's one of our proud One City moments in collaboration with the police department, who seeks a project every year called Project 365, which they work 365 days between National Night Out. So this is an activity that we hope will win an award. But what we did is went in and removed all of the debris that was remaining in a structure that we acquired. Went in, cleaned it out, cleaned the yard, took out all of this debris that's in the home, that was in the property. And here is our team of city employees and police departments working together to transform a neighborhood. And so we actually purchased, I don't have a pointer, but those 2 units directly behind are the 2 that we purchased. And those units will be repurposed at some point. I don't know exactly what yet, and I'll speak a little bit about that, because our next steps will be to engage. We're hoping seeking City Council approval to engage the UNC School of Government to help us with a neighborhood revitalization strategy initiative for that area. As you know, we've gone in and we've done neighborhood cleanups and things through code enforcement, but we know we need to take some more strategic strategies to do a little bit more work in that area. So through their development finance initiative, we might be able to secure some technical assistance to go in and help us figure out how to actually get the private investment back in the neighborhood, to turn the neighborhood around, that we hope would then address the aesthetic issues in the neighborhood, property values that are declining. We want those to come back up, and we want to improve the quality of life for the residents that are still there. And so that we will know more about following our next city council meeting, so I may have some positive news for you. We also want to remind our citizens and to remind you that we have our Adopt a Street program. We're looking for neighborhood groups and individuals, churches to come out and adopt a stream, street, park, or trail. So far, we have 26 streets adopted. We had 3 new adoptions just in last month, and we still have 20 streets available. We're just asking for a 4-year commitment through the agreement when you adopt a street, that you would clean it at least 4 times a year, just quarterly. Great activity, and we encourage our citizens to get involved as their way of creating and helping us keep the city clean and green. Now, I know that was quick. I'm going to turn it over to Gary. This is a sad moment for me. As Glenn mentioned, Gary is leaving us, is retiring toward the end of the month, early part of next month, but this is going to be his last time before you, so I want you to send him off well, ask him a ton of questions. Ask him to get us all that knowledge he's accumulated.
I don't have any answers.
Over 22 years, but we're going to do this, Gary. I'm going to turn it over to you if you have anything you'd like to say.
Thank you, Lily, and thank you, members, for allowing us to present this evening. Before I even get started, I want to say thank you so much for allowing us to do this at least once a year to bring you up to date on the things that we do in the Community Development Division. And as a city as a whole. And it's truly an honor to work with all of you, especially this committee, because their focus on environment and appearance correlates with code enforcement and the nuisance abatements and the things that our codes and ordinances prohibit, and we try to focus on the council's goals and mission of, the keeping the community clean. So with that, code enforcement, as an overview, code enforcement encompasses public nuisances, junk vehicles, minimum housing, which is those structures that are either occupied or unoccupied, and the condition of the interior of the dwelling as well as the exterior of the dwelling. Your non-residential structures, your commercial buildings, we enforce the same standards of structural integrity and habitability for commercial structures as we do residential. And then our zoning enforcement is that from the Unified Development Ordinance, which is the development standards for new and continued development, and I'll go into that in a minute. The Unified Development Ordinance, we enforce land use regulations, what's allowed, what's not allowed, signage, landscaping standards and requirements, parking standards where each development and the commercial communities are required to maintain their parking lots, free of potholes, striping clearly visible, handicap accessibility, and things of that nature. And we also deal with those persons who choose to work from home and have a business from their home. We have development standards for those so that we maintain the integrity of a residential neighborhood so that you don't know that there's a business going on in a community or next door, that you maintain the residential community as a whole. Just real quick, our nuisances is covered under, and that's a typo I just caught, that should be chapter 14 of the city code. And a nuisance is any condition which injures or endangers the comfort, repose, health, safety, or welfare of others, offends decency, is offensive to the senses, unlawfully interferes with, obstructs, or tends to obstruct or renders dangerous for passage any public or private street, highway, sidewalk, stream, ditch, or drainage. And we work closely with the Public Services Department and our Streets Department with all of the drainage and utility easements throughout the community, where most times the property owner is responsible for maintaining these easements, but the city will, in some instances, assist in maintaining those easements to protect the streams and the flooding within the communities. And then also part of a nuisance definition is interferes with the comfortable enjoyment, life, and property, or tends to depreciate the value of other properties. Nuisances, this list is not all inclusive, but you have your high grass and weeds, trash, debris, stagnant water, not only in swimming pools above ground or in ground, but pails, buckets, 55-gallon drums, flower pots, anything that becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes. It has a potential for odor, and we also get involved with some noise ordinances with the assistance of the police department. And then neighborhood blight as an overall example of what nuisance we enforce. There's some pictures of high grass and weeds. Our codes say anything greater than 8 inches in height on average, that's the entire parcel of land, is in violation of code. So just a few weeds or dandelions sticking up does not necessarily mean that they're in violation of code, but if the majority of the property is greater than 8 inches, then they are in violation and will be put on notice. Some examples of trash and debris that we've dealt with in the past. Stagnant water, as I spoke about earlier, and your junk vehicles. Also, neighborhood blight, which is any condition which contributes to neighborhood blight or endangers public health. We will investigate each and every complaint on those merits. Part of our responsibilities with our minimum housing codes and our building codes is to look at buildings and structures and their conditions. Any building or structure which is in such a dilapidated condition that is unfit for habitation or kept in any unsanitary condition that is a menace to the health of people residing in the vicinity thereof or presence are more than ordinary fire hazard. I wanted to put some pictures of the hurricane damage that we've had with Hurricane Florence and Matthew, I believe. And with regard to the hurricane damage and code enforcement, you all well know that here we are 8 months later, and you're still seeing downed trees, tarps on roofs, sheds torn down, garages, and a myriad of things like that. That is a challenge for code enforcement at this juncture. Many people are still working with insurance company, working with FEMA to try to get assets to repair or demolish these types of conditions. A lot of them have already received funds, have contractors on standby, but many of you may have already experienced this. They're on a waiting list, roofers, siding people, concrete people, interior drywall. The backlog is phenomenal. So it's not that these people don't want to fix up these things, but it's going to be some time before we get back to the norm. The challenge for code enforcement and for community engagement are those structures that persons walked away from after the hurricane. They just packed up and left and said, we're just moving on someplace else. Those are going to be a challenge for the city of Jacksonville, for management as a whole with these types of structures. We can't just go on somebody's property and just start bulldozing and clearing lots without going through a very long and restrictive legal process. But I just wanted to bring that up as far as what we do with code enforcement and those things that you see around the community that you wish we could make go away sooner, but we can't. Our enforcement process, we spoke about this before. We do handle each and every complaint. We try to get them within 24, 48 hours. We post courtesy notices. We try to be temperate in language, solicit cooperation to get abatement. If we don't get abatement voluntarily, then our next process is formal letters, notices of violation, get compliance. If that fails, then we use the legal route and we use either contracted services or the court systems to get abatement. For the calendar year, that's calendar year 2018, we did 2,657 nuisance cases. We did 1,056 land use or UDO type inspections, and we've handled 131 minimum housing cases in our code enforcement section for calendar year 2018. We're almost half into 2019, and more than likely, because of the storm and things of that nature, we will exceed all of those numbers next year. That's all I have. Again, thank you for letting me speak, for being here, and I thank you for the job you do for volunteering to serve on this committee to help the management, the city council, and the citizens of Jacksonville.
We thank you for your service, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed that we had a complaint and you did come out, but we were told that we have a big hole that is connected to the water, the water.
Yes, ma'am. Drainage easement. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I thought it would be repaired. I know there's a lot of people, but we were told that it was gonna happen. And right now it has not happened.
I will check, ma'am. I'm familiar with it. I know our Public Services Department has sent people out there, and I'm sure they have it on a schedule, but I will check.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Gary or Lily? Thank you both.
Thank you.
Wonderful presentation there. Well, now I'll call on Genia Webb of the Recognition Committee.
Thank you. All members are encouraged to submit nominations for Appearance Awards, Outstanding Service Award, and Recycle efforts to the Recognition Committee. Anyone can nominate online. Our committee is still interested in recruiting members. On May the 17th, Betty and I rode through the city and nominated 8 residents and 4 commercials. I will mention the first 6 and then I'll let Miss Betty mention the next 6. The first one, are these in order according to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. The first one, and we're going to ask our members to vote on their favorite, and you have a sheet in front of you. Okay, the first one was 105 Keller Court. The next one is 204 Ann Street. Next, 206 Ann Street. 306 Ann Street.
Yeah, it should be 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. 305 Ann Street. And 310 Woodland Drive.
The next one is 2219 Warrenton Way. 2230 Warrenton Way. For commercial, we looked at 2555 Western Boulevard, 2000 Brabham Avenue, 2885 Western Boulevard, 2555 Western Boulevard. It's not.
If the members would just mark their ballots and we'll proceed from that point there. Be sure to rank them within that category that is of the residents, rank those together, and of the commercials, rank those together, please.
There's 2555 Westerns.
There it is. That is an error.
Yeah,
Points for
started
that,
in the
sir.
beginning.
All right, well, they can only rank that, that's obviously the wrong address, so just do them in the order that they are. They have that address. I didn't notice that. So, you just put on the last one, just put First Citizens, and then on the first one, that's BB&T.
Okay.
That'll make it real easy.
It would take a real estate man to come up with
That is so sad.
I look at commercial buildings all too
There
often.
you go. All right, any questions for Genia? Okay, we thank you for your presentation and Betty for going around and checking those things out. The next list of items is going to be by Mr. Glenn Hargett here, We're gonna start out with the tree board meeting and Arbor Day.
Well, we want to thank those that were able to participate. We understand not everybody was able to be there. We missed you, but we got through this as it is. It was very nicely received. I think the Belfork folks were happy to have us there. We certainly impacted their day. It wasn't a normal day for them, but Councilmember Bob Warden presented the certificate, the resolution as a proclamation rather than normally. The poem was read and read well. And then, of course, we got the 39th year of the Tree City USA Award. And one of the things we're going to talk to you about is what we want to talk about for the 40th year to do something big and bodacious. Obviously, we planted trees because that's what you do on Arbor Day is plant trees. And Jason and there's Perosi and his folks out there, Scott Perosi, they were all out there, and it was a nice deal, and I think the young people really enjoyed it. I don't think the principal quite got what we were going to do about planting out there, but the kids had a great time. And, I think we'll all agree on that as it was. That was a lot of stuff. And Smokey Bear, let me tell you, that guy's a hit every time. At elementary schools, they start applauding when he comes in. There's just this mumble that goes through the crowd, and there it is as it was there. We do want you to think about for the 40th year. Now, some ideas that have been just kind of expressed around the table was maybe for the 40th year, we just don't plant things on one day, that we do a whole month of planting some stuff. Another idea that got given out was about doing something about giving away trees, since obviously we lost a lot of trees during Florence. And to consider giving some trees, you folks would host an event to give trees away during April of next year, and for people to plant them at that time and to proceed on with it as it was. We talked about places to do it at, and that was certainly a lively conversation, but we think we want to do it in some very public space that could facilitate that as it was. I want to mention, obviously, you all were invited to the advisory group appreciation dinner. I mean, it seems like it was a long time ago, but they met at the 1st of April, so that happened during that time. And so city folks, the leaders are considering doing something else. Some of you have mentioned, some options for doing something else, and we'd love you to tell us what you'd like to see. The council would like to do something to show appreciation to you for your service. And obviously, they thought the dinner and things like that might be something that would be worthy. But it may have run its course, and there needs to be something else that you think about doing. One of the ideas was to have it right before a regular council meeting so that all the council members could be there, and have a reception in the atrium and do something like that, and then have some sort of commentary made during the regular meeting or something there. So it'd be, after 5 and, let people come and go and do stuff like that as it was. But we'd love to hear your ideas. If y'all come up with anything, let us know. We're all ears. And I'm sure your committee will have the same kind of concerns there as it was too. Well, now we come to the time for the election of officers. And this is the time Ed Blizzard asked not to be reappointed, so this is his last session here this evening, and we're going to miss him. And certainly the male to female ratio will change dramatically at this moment. So Matt, you have the helm. And Eugenia she's serving her second term as vice chair, so she cannot serve another term as vice chair immediately. You can't have consecutive terms, but you can return to those things as it was. And we are informed that Betty Schaffelbang and Sunshine Williams have indicated their willingness to be chair and vice chair respectfully. We can accept nominations from the floor, or someone could make a motion to elect Betty and Sunshine by acclamation to start with fiscal year 2020.
I make a motion to elect Betty and Sunshine by acclamation.
I second it.
And you can ask for all those in favor to say aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor say no.
I wonder if that was a little bit of
Or nay.
defense mechanism down there. Okay,
I don't
so
know.
Stacia will give them their new name plates. And
look at there.
Good thing they said aye.
Well, I guess I can put mine away now.
No, you get to keep yours.
Okay.
Now you get to take that home. Something you
Okay, I
get to
will
take
do
that
that.
home.
I put that on my I Love Me wall, yes, sir. All right.
We do
All
want to
right.
talk about the One City moment as it was there. Obviously, you folks saw that we, before the meeting, for those watching us, we watched a tribute by the Tar Heel Traveler for Camp Lejeune's connection to D-Day, which was, I hope, informative and well-received on the matter. But he also did another story about, for Memorial Day. And on that time, he came here and he visited the Vietnam Memorial. And he met with John Legato, who many of you know. He not only served, but amazing to me that he spent all that time in the FBI as an undercover agent with the, in the Italian Mafia. So, I mean, that's just, you know, an incredible thing to me. He's written, you know, 2 books, and he's got another one that's soon to be published also. And, you know, he's a pretty squared away guy as it was there. But he finally recalled his time in Vietnam as an active duty Marine. And he noted that the several colleagues that he lost in Vietnam. He also had a poignant note that the average age of those who passed in Vietnam was 18 years old.
Wow.
And that of those out there on that wall, 58,200 names, that 33,000 of them are 18 years old. That is a sobering thought, is it not? He really, his story really evoked a particularly emotional tribute from the anchors at the end. They were moved by that story, and that was interesting. We did talk about the D-Day, and this is the story he shot the day, but this is just some things we put together for you. This day clearly has been deemed pivotal. Betty mentioned about she watched some of the proceedings today from Normandy, and they're very emotional. It's just to consider the impact of that day is just amazing. But Camp Lejeune contributed to that. In fact, many may not know that the Army's 1st and 9th Divisions trained here at Camp Lejeune, learning the techniques of amphibious assault from the Marines. It was also interesting that Lieutenant Colonel Kim Kimball shared that 361 Marines accompanied the Army in the assault on Normandy. And of course, that was where that movie got made, The Longest Day, that comes out of that as it was. But these are some postcards. We have someone amongst our mix that collects postcards that some of them look back to that time and reflect on that time as it is. And those are reminiscent of the Higgins boats. Alan Covey has done some research on it, and I hope you see that on our Facebook post. We posted about the Higgins boats. And many may not know the Coast Guard actually trained here for the war at Camp Lejeune. So we should, throughout this day, we need to remember those who didn't come back on that, and those who served and now are passing on as it was. I mean, this was such a pivotal day that it's appropriate that we pause to remember what D-Day is and not to forget those sacrifices, nor shall we forget those who live among us and who have served during that time. And we thank you for your service and that appreciation. So that's that. The last thing we want to talk about, and this is why Carrie Terrell is here, is that first I got to do a little census update. Sorry about that, forgot that. Today I've been appointed to the state census committee, and we received some updates, and we also have some local committee here, the Complete Count Committee, and I'm very proud of what the Complete Count Committee is doing here in Jacksonville and Onslow County. We do want to make sure that everybody knows that what was happening with that is that the census this time for the first time will be done that you can respond to it over the internet. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can have a card mailed to you and you can fill it out there. There's only a few questions that you have to ask. Basically, who lives here and what their age is and what their demographics are and some questions such as that. We're going to have a tough time, and Lily has heard this conversation. We were significantly undercounted in the 2010 census. Some 22,000 people weren't counted, largely because of the way the Census Bureau counted deployed persons. Well, not that we value each individual because of the money they bring to the community, but it is important for us to get our share of that, and the only way we can do that is being accurate in the census. Each person during the past census has been worth $1,623 to our community. $205 per person in state allocated funding per year. So take that 22,000, do the math against 10 years at 1623 and 205, and that works out to $360 million that could have come in federal and state dollars to our community over this last decade. What could you have done?
Oh, ton of affordable
What?
housing.
Our allocation for
Infrastructure.
community development is based on census data, not the state estimate that we have been able to get some correction to, but the census data. I want you to know that census had us at 70,245 people in 2010. We believe we were 83,000 people at a minimum for the city of Jacksonville. The loss of that over the time, we went from the 10th most populous city in the state to the 14th. And so, admittedly, Matt can speak much more eloquently and informed about this than I can. But when some franchise operators, some people look at things, they look at what that rating is. They look at those numbers. They look at those demographics. And sometimes we're excluded because of our place on that list as it is. The important thing is we're asking your help to spread the word. Come April 1st, 2020, they will actually start mailing the cards March 15th, 2020, to ask people to go online, fill them out, and be accurate as possible there because we want to get everybody counted. So you'll be hearing a lot more publicity. It will mainly start around the first of the year, but we want you all to help be evangelists, so should you hear this. The other thing is, remember, census people cannot give out your information. Everyone's concerned about this immigration question. Wherever you stand on immigration, there's always, the point is it's going to cause some people we know not to fill out the form as it is. But even if they do fill it out, remember the Census Bureau cannot release that information for 72 years. They can only release the aggregate of the information, that is tallied. The individual information, how you can learn what your grandparents did and things like that. They can't, that's 72 years old. Or a census worker can face federal prison time for it. So, it's quite an incentive not to do that. And every census worker takes an oath when they come to work for the Census Bureau, not for the time while they're working at the census. It's a lifetime oath that they must take. And they are subject to that throughout the time. Now we're going to do the recycling list. This is what we had put out before for recycling. This is after Carrie, remember some of y'all went out there to the MRF, and we got the list from Sunoco and stuff there, and our manager, combined this down to this list. This is not the case anymore. We forget the numbers, just totally forget the numbers. And we put on the back of your document there, and Carrie, correct me when I go wrong on it, but bottom line is now the state has come out with this as part of what they want to do is they want to create a unified message across the state about what collects. So you don't hear that, well, Kinston says they take this, or they other take that. And Kerry knows he gets this more than we get it about, well, why can't we? And I will tell you, in my own household, arguing about styrofoam, I'm tired of dealing with it. I just let them throw it away and I go take it out. But anyway, to the point, this is what it's going to be across the state. Plastic, bottles, tubs, jugs, and jars, not little pumps that go on the top of it, put that in the trash. Take the pumps off. Empty and rinse. Notice about that. Empty and rinse metal cans. They don't care what the metal is. Metal cans, they take them. Glass, bottles and jars. And remember, Carrie, we talked about brown glass, green glass, everything. Just empty them and rinse them. Paper. One thing you're going to hear here is that there is some exceptions to paper, but most paper is in there. And Carrie begs you to please flatten your cardboard. Yes. Takes up a lot of space. And y'all saw what it did out there.
Oh, yeah.
I love that they have finally identified no tanglers. Hoses, wires, cords, and everything. Because remember, we saw what it did to the machines out there. That just stops everything
right
on
now.
the deal. These are the things they say get out of there. Those aerosol cans, nope. Aluminum foil, nope. Batteries, nope. Ceramics, clothing, textiles, diapers. you just go, are you kidding me? You know, what, you know,
We had to
what-
say it.
you know, you know, anyway, disposable cups, even they had a number on the bottom of them. We got in this argument here at City Hall about it. Nope, they don't want them because they don't want any food tainted items. Electronics, there's a double star about that because that, Kerry, and you explain all that part. He's got days he'll pick up certain electronics and there's a bill before the legislature now kind of changing some color of it. But, you know, but the bottom line is, read that hazardous waste, household glass, the stuff in your windows, you know, that's not, no. Medical waste, again, are you kidding me? You know, plastic bags and wraps, you know, and stuff of the nature there, and shredded paper. Boy, this City Hall generates some shredded paper. Let me tell you. No, can't take it. Those styrofoam, the peanuts, tires, and toys, no. And you'll notice that please don't bag your recyclables. Just put them in the bins that Kerry brings to your house. And I'm gonna tell you, this is the tribute to Kerry. This man just doesn't leave it to his staff. I have seen him out at 7 o'clock at night delivering containers to somebody's house, you know, that needs them and such there. Kerry, where did I go wrong, or what can you amplify, buddy?
You did a very, very good job. We're just simply trying to amplify some of the educational points that the city did about a year and a half ago.
January of 2018 is when we did it.
Yes, sir, and trying to clean up the recycling stream. And I think a lot of you have heard information about China and China rejecting some recycling material. It has affected the market. That's one reason why the state is trying to get sort of a uniform message out in order to clean the recycling material up. And the uniform message was because several MRFs, different MRFs, you know, you go to the MRF in Jacksonville and the MRF in Jacksonville won't take styrofoam. Well, the MRF in Raleigh will take styrofoam. It just depended upon the particular MRF and what they were doing. And now we're gonna have a uniform message that hopefully is not gonna be very complicated for the residential customers, and we can all continue to clean up the residential stream with the recyclables and keep it a lot cleaner. A lot of municipalities now, unfortunately, are faced with the pain of having to charge for the collection of recyclables, and this is one thing that we want to try to avoid here if we can, to make it more convenient for our residential customers.
We all have heard the story about one community that said they were going to stop picking up curbside recycling, and that elected body changed their mind when the public did that. I think this is it. We've all gotten used to recycling. We want to recycle. And then this China thing happened. And it's amazing, you know, how the economy is so global in nature now, is it not? That we're all affected by it.
Very much so. You know, China's X number of thousands of miles away, but just one decision that was made affects the whole waste stream. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to be putting this out. This will go out on utility bill with your bills next month. Thank you for paying your utility bills. We appreciate that money. You know, and so bottom line is that we need you all to help be evangelists about it. This is trying to unify something, and I think it was very smart of the state to say,
Yes.
let's try to get this throughout and just do it. You know, they haven't finished it yet, but they're hoping to roll out their program in September. Sunoco, to their credit, got this part, so they're in it now, and this is their list and their stuff as it was there. But what the folks up there already told me, this is going to be the deal.
And you have to say one thing too. The city of Jacksonville really in 2018 was at the forefront of this, trying to clean up the recycling waste stream and to get proper material placed in the MRF so that it be handled. So you know you have to give credit to the senior management of the city for their far-reaching thought process and trying to start now and getting this thing cleaned up.
It's going to be a shocker to some communities. Out there as it is. Well, Mr. Chair, I think that's all we got here. Oh, no, we got one more thing. Hold on. Miss Betty would remind me of this. The City Council and the Tourism Development Authority has given preliminary approval to these signs to be placed at the Beirut Memorial Grove. These are different from ones that we had seen before. Several things changed during that time. This is the locations. There'll be 2 of them out there if the budget allows that to occur. And they will have to move some trees to accommodate these designs. And they will have some landscaping around them and such that if you remember at the last meeting, LaCory told us, I think it was 92 trees they were going to have to replace anyway. So, you know, there's going to do that. This is not the season, obviously, to plant a tree.
It's a rain.
You know. Also, we have some directional signs. These are prototypes. They are not intended to be there, and they're not intended, this pole is not the pole that we're going to use. We just wanted to put them up for people to see them as they drive by and make commentary to them. This particular model would be one that would be placed on city streets, and it can have more things on it. This one is what has to go on NCDOT streets. It has to be of a certain size, certain heights, and it is limited to 3 entries to meet the NCDOT rules as that. So perhaps hit the wrong button here. Okay, anyway, but the long story short is this is for review and for there. We welcome your comments. Again, they're going to be on a square black pole. It's going to be metal. This one is just way off of the street because we got permission from the county to put it here because that's a county lot, you know, just so you could see it, and it would be much closer to the intersection in its reality of where it would be. But we'll finally have something like that. And this one, it's down there placed between Wardola and Loyola, and that's not really where it needs to go, but it was a place where it could go just to show where it would, how it would fit down there. And it also would be much taller. And if you walk up to it now, you'll say, boy, these things are big. But when you're driving by, I mean, this businessman knows here, you got to be big. And like on the letters for the Beirut sign, they're 20 inches. And you all know that's pretty big, you know, and stuff there. And so.
Glenn, is that brick?
Yes, ma'am.
A brick wall
Yes,
like?
ma'am.
Wow.
Yes. And it fades into the into a berm that they would build at the site.
It looks good. Looks good.
All right, now let's make sure I got everything. So don't go on that. Okay, that's it.
Okay, any other input from anyone, you know, before we get ready to adjourn here? Next regular meeting is going to be 6 p.m. Thursday, August 1st. Papers are stuck together now. No red Solo cups. None of those. Okay.
No.
I'm sorry, I have a habit of doing that.
He has
Okay.
that song in his head too.
Yeah, I do. All right, if there's nothing else coming before the board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
With great tribute to Ed, that will be your last official action, sir. Thank you for your leadership.
I did want you to know that I'm not leaving voluntarily. I have medical issues and surgeries coming up down the road. And I'm reminded of our city manager, Dr. Woodruff, who once said that I'm leaving for medical reasons. And he says, because I'm sick of it, but I'm not sick of y'all. I just want you to know that I enjoyed every minute of it. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer, but God bless you all.
You can come back at any time.
I will. I might be sitting over there or something.
Or at least tune in.
Oh, absolutely. I can't miss that show. All right, so do I have a motion to adjourn?
I moved.
Okay, second? Okay, God bless you all and thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.